Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So this actually makes sense because they're both the origin of both languages, right? Is West Germanic languages. It's like so it makes sense actually. Dutch and English are actually really similar. Let's hop into it and see how similar they are. I have been thinking of doing a little video series on Duolingo, which I know it's not the greatest, but they do have a free to use sort of tutorials to learn very, very basic language information. I was thinking of doing a little series on the Dutch language. So let me know if you guys think that's a thing, should be a thing, and let's get to it. Dutch and English are actually really similar.
Dutch is not a real language. We have a serious problem.
Dutch is not a real language. We hebben een serieus probleem.
Is literally we hebben een serieus probleem. But seriously, English and Dutch are probably a lot more similar than you think. They are both West Germanic languages, descended from Proto-West Germanic, a language spoken sometime between the 2nd and 7th.
So in there we have Old High German, Thuringian, East Frankish, Bavarian, Old Frisian, Old Saxon, Old Dutch, Old English.
Centuries. In the Middle Ages, different dialects of Proto-West Germanic began to separate into different languages, which we now know as English, Dutch, German and Frisian. While English's relative isolation, along with strong French influence, have great...
English doesn't exist and is just badly pronounced French, linguist claims. Yeah, it is interesting when you see sentences across different languages bearing very, very striking similarities.
Really differentiated it from the continental Germanic languages. That doesn't stop Dutch from feeling strangely familiar to the English ear. Not only is Dutch incredibly similar to English phonetically, some words like autumn, house, and apple are almost identical. This video will give an overview of the many surprising connections between Dutch and English. So hop in that cockstool and get ready.
Cockstool.
If you've ever wondered why words like fight have that GH in the middle, Dutch holds the secret. In Dutch, fight is vecht, pronounced with a guttural sound. The GH in fight actually used to be pronounced the same way, but this sound has now disappeared, and no one bothered updating the spelling. In Dutch, night is nacht, and brood is gebracht.
Is night, is that also the same spelling in German, isn't it? Nacht?
The Dutch equivalent of the word knight is knecht, meaning servant.
Knecht.
Notice how in Dutch the K is pronounced. This is yet another example of English throwing a sound away without changing the spelling. Another example of this can be seen in the Dutch word for knee, knie. The ch sound can also be heard in places that you wouldn't expect. To wait is wachten, rainbow is regenboog, day is dag, way is...
The thing in English, or at least the pronunciations here in Canada, like there is no like we don't really have to do any of that I know of.
Weg, and the Milky Way is actually de Melkweg. Another connection is the English S and Dutch Z. In Dutch, sun is zon, soul is ziel, sick is ziek, and silver is zilver. In northwestern areas of the Netherlands, like Amsterdam, the Z is actually pronounced like an S, making these words even more similar to English. The English G sound corresponds with the Dutch ch sound. Good is goed, God is God, and green is groen. Another common pattern is that words ending in OLD in English tend to correspond to OUD in Dutch. For example, old is oud, cold is koud, and gold is goud. But sold is not zout, it's actually verkocht. In English, the W represents a W sound, but in Dutch it's V. It sounds like something in between.
It's the same as German, right? The W is pronounced like a V.
A W and a V. Now here are some words that sound extremely similar. English's ow sound simply becomes ow in Dutch. House is house, mouse is mouse, brown is brown. The Dutch equivalent of town is down.
There's not... like the subtleties of his pronunciation obviously are there, but it's not huge differences, I don't feel.
But it instead means garden. Many common Dutch verbs sound strikingly similar to English. Do is doen, begin is beginnen, think is denken, eat is eten, drink is drinken, see is zien, run is rennen, and come is komme. You can also see the connection in the days of the week, which
Maandag, Dinsdag, Woensdag, Donderdag, yeah.
They all sound fairly similar. The days Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are actually named after Germanic gods Tyr, Odin, Thor, and Frigg. Monday and Sunday are literally Noonday and Sunday, and Saturday is the odd one out, being named after the Roman god Saturn. Words for family members are also incredibly similar. Son is Zoon, daughter is Dochter, mother is Moeder, and father is Vader. Many animal words are also...
So, a lot of similarities obviously to German, so you could put the... And another, obviously, Germanic language. Languages are so cool, man. And how they evolve and spread historically.
Closely related. Cow is Koe, sheep is Schaap, cat is Kat, dog is Hond, which is related to the English word hound. Being from Northern Ireland, a connection I personally find very interesting is the Dutch word muur, meaning wall, and the English word mural, meaning a wall painting. These can both be traced back to the Latin word murus, meaning wall. Following the Norman conquest of England in 1066, many of English's native Germanic vocabulary began to be replaced by words of French origin. Dutch has some French words too, but compared to English, has maintained far more of its native vocabulary. Examples of this are peace, vrede, voice, stem, question, vraag, use, gebruik, village, dorp, city, stop, animal, dier. English actually still has this word, but it now only refers to a deer. Some of these Germanic words are actually a lot more self-explanatory than English's foreign loan words, such as victory, which is simply overwinning, and aardappel, literally meaning earth apple. Average is gemiddeld.
Potatoes and earth apple? That's great.
With the word middle literally right there to explain the meaning. There are also many related words that no longer have the same meaning. The English word will and the Dutch word wil share a common origin, but the Dutch word actually means want to instead of going to. The Dutch word huilen, meaning cry, is actually related to the English word huil, and the word gift originally just meant to give someone something, but in English the meaning narrowed to giving a present, and in Dutch and German it became a word for poison. I guess because poison is something you give a dose of to someone. Another interesting word is springe, meaning jump, which is actually related to the English word spring, making it easy to guess the meaning. But don't be deceived into thinking all these similarities make Dutch easy, because the grammar has a trick up its sleeve. While English has lost its gender system entirely, Dutch still has two different ways of saying the, depending on a word's gender. These are de and het. If you want to speak Dutch correctly, you'll have to remember which of these to use for every single word. Dutch word order can also be surprisingly different from English. In simple sentences like I go to sleep, the word order is often exactly the same. But when it comes to more complex phrases like I'm going to buy a car tomorrow, the word order is completely different. While Dutch and English are very closely related, don't forget that the entire point of this video was to show the connection between the two languages, and so I focused mainly on the parts that are similar. There are also countless differences making English and Dutch mostly incomprehensible to one another, so if you want to get the full picture, I'd highly recommend learning some Dutch, as it is an incredibly fascinating language.
Alright, we're doing it. That's final. Interesting, very interesting. Like he said, the whole point of the video was showing the similarities, and he acknowledged at the end that they can be incomprehensible to each other, but they do have a lot of similarities, and the reasons for that is really, really fascinating. All right, see you all soon. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, we'll do one of those learning videos. I'll start chipping away at it. All right, see you soon.